Hi, good morning, teams. So this is our pre-recorded drivers meeting for at least the April 23rd event. I assume it's going to be the same one for the April 30th event, but if there's any big changes need to be made, I will send those out after this event. So what I'm going to do is walk through all the major portions and any questions you guys may have regarding this event, since I know that for a lot of you, this is your first live remote event. Some of you, it's not, and you've done a few of them, but maybe with me or maybe with other teams, such as, with RACF or one of the other competitions. So what I want to do is run through a few things. I'm going to go through briefly how to run through the live remote tournament system and how to set it up, and at least give you the information that you guys can read through in test. And then I'm going to go through the event schedule and just repeat some of the specifics of what we're going to do for this event, because after doing this a few times, there's a few details that I've seen that I would like to, make sure that we emphasize during this event. And that'll be it. So after this video, after you guys listen through this entire video, feel free to send in any and all questions. And what I will do is put together a Q&A and send that out Friday morning in Eastern Standard Time. So we have teams from, at least right now, Pennsylvania, Delmarva, and Singapore. So specifying Eastern Standard Time for that. So what I'm going to do is start by sharing my screen here. And this website was given to you on the first email, and I'm putting it on this email, the second email that I've sent out as well. This has all the information about live remote events from FRC or RACF, excuse me. So what I'm going to walk through briefly with everyone here is the live remote tournament team setup and instructions. So there's a lot of information here. I'm just going to go over the parts that are more essential, and I would hope that you guys read through it all as well. So as you know, that there's, starting at the beginning here, there's our rule changes. I would ask you guys to read the game manual and read the LRT rules specifically. So such as you can touch the goals when you're done, and it actually gives you a bonus. You're supposed to score for both teams, that it also gives you a bonus. So please read through that and ask questions as needed. We are also asking that we have a coach or a mentor from every team that is with that team throughout the event. So as you guys know, we're doing it through the remote software, and there's a event chat, which I'll get to in a second. But it'd be nice if the coach or mentor could be a backup, just in case there's not enough students on the team to actually watch the computer and run the robot at the same time. You can also check anything pre-set up, inspection, and it's sort of just more as you're acting as a coach for the team. That way they don't have to focus on everything happening at the same time. So I'm going to briefly go over the technology and equipment requirements. I'm actually not going to read it all because this is, on a team basis. So, you guys need your computer, you need the controller plugged into the computer. We will also have a live stream running from Widener. I will get that link to all the teams as soon as I can as well. And we'll have an MC running that. The one thing that we found out over the past events is the timing. So if the MC or the head ref says we're starting the match, focus on the time on your remote software. Don't worry about the live stream time, because it's going to be slightly different. So we're not going to exactly emphasize it throughout the event, just to make sure you're watching that and knowing that there's going to be different times. The stream should also be delayed by just a few seconds. Looking at the field setup, we need the camera that it can see the field exactly like this. And you can also see the goal setup. This is also in the game manual. So I'm not going to go through that specifically, but I'll zoom in a little. So you can see how half the balls are scored and there's only a few balls on the field. It's a matter of, during the 2-minute match, that you can reorient all the balls in order to maximize your score with your alliance partner. Camera technology setup, I'm going to sort of skip through. I sort of said that, how you need to have your controller plugged in, you need to have the camera plugged in, and you can have a monitor as well to watch the live stream. So there is a practice that you can go through. I would highly, highly, highly recommend that every team goes through several practice matches. Make sure your setup works right. And you guys can even communicate with each other to set up practice matches with each other. During our event, we will have a practice match for all teams. That way they can make sure everything works. And then we'll have a few qualification matches and then elimination matches. So this is another portion that I sort of preluded, is communication. What we're going to do is we are going to allow you guys just to use the chat feature on the event. So there's an event chat feature that goes out to the whole lobby and all the teams can see it. There will be a match chat during matches that referees may ask you to how many balls are in this goal because we may not be able to see it properly. And then there's a DM chat that you can do throughout the event, so you can DM other teams or any of the event administrators. So we're going to emphasize this. And if you guys want as teams, you can give each other phone numbers through this chat, and that way you can communicate in a different manner if you need to. If there is an extreme emergency during the event, and there's some weird technical issue that we can't solve through the chat, then what we'll do is we'll give you guys a Zoom link that we can hop on and hopefully fix it very quick. So what we need is all teams to be focused on all the chats during the entire event. So that's where the mentors can come into play during a match if we ask questions about the field setup or where balls are scored. We need the teams to respond to us via chat. Using the audio on the match is not great, so we're going to use the chat far more than the actual match audio. So logging in, this is all about logging in and getting everything set up. I'll let the teams read it as they need to. So the event's going to look like this, and there's actually an update. So this is not the most up-to-date screen. There will be a live stream from RECF on here, the YouTube live stream. Widener will have our own live stream with an MC. So we will post that in the event chat throughout the event, and it'll also be on the Robot Events page so all the teams can reference that. So this portion of the team instructions is about the actual what happens during a match and an event. I'm going to emphasize this, and then I'm also going to bring up a few extra tips that we want to focus on especially. So when we start a match, you'll see that the match is queued up. It's a current match. You can join that match if that's your team. Then once all the teams are joined and our referees are ready, we'll send out what's called a ready check. So once your team is ready, they're plugged in, the field set up right, you can check it off. It's not mandatory, but we ask you guys do it just to as courtesy. And this is, again, this is preparation for Worlds. So I'm assuming this is what Worlds is going to ask. So once it's all ready, our head referee or our MC may unmute actually in there and say that we're starting the match in a few seconds, or we'll send the chat feature. We're going to sort of go back and forth on that and find out what works best throughout the event. So be patient with us as we try out a few different things and see what works best. Then once we're ready, we'll start the autonomous period, and then basically what you do is all the teams will get a 5-second countdown on your screen, and then it'll start autonomous. So you'd run it like you would any other match in person, where you just run your code, and that's actually how you need to enter into the event to begin. You have to have your code running and plugged in at all times. And you'll just run a 5-second countdown, and then it'll start autonomous. We'll add up, we'll try to score autonomous as best as we can, and then we'll ask teams to confirm the score because there's the extra win point, there's the autonomous winner, and those are huge with matches this year. Once we have that and have a ready check there, then we'll start the actual match. This is what you guys will see, and this is what the head referees will see. So we can zoom in on them, and so can you guys, and we will be doing that for the live stream as well, and we'll be emphasizing certain teams throughout the event. So one thing that I want to bring up, as you can see, there's some teams here, like the ones at the bottom, that the goals in the corners are very hard to see. So what we ask is the teams make sure that you can see the entire field, like these two at the top, and it has very good lighting. This field on the top right is what I would call one of the ideal fields. You can see all the goals clearly. It has very bright lighting. We've had that issue in the past where the teams are, in a dark room, and it's very hard to tell blue against red from a camera. The other thing is our scorekeepers only get screenshots like this. They'll get one of these every 5 seconds from the software. They don't actually see a live view other than the live stream that they can watch on YouTube. So we ask you guys to be as clear as possible and also stand out of the camera. We had in the past students standing right here in front of the camera. We can't see half the goals. So we're asking you to stand on the opposite sides of the field and treat it as you would a normal match. Try to stay in the box. Only the 3 members, anyone else that's there should be silent and not helping their team members out. Not, if you need to say out times, that's okay, but shouldn't be saying go for that goal, go for that goal. That's what the drive team is meant to do by themselves. At the end of the match, we'll score it as best as we can, and we will most likely be asking questions every match to make sure that your robot's touching this goal or the ball is in the goal or not touching the ground. So please be watching the chat the entire time. You guys will then be able to check your scores. It looks a little different than this. It actually just has a number rather than the actual dots. It's an upgrade that they had. This document is somewhat out of date now. And we'll ask you guys to confirm the score or challenge it. If you want to challenge it, just tell us what we missed. We'll fix it and move on. Again, this is a scrimmage, so if we miss 1 or 2, just tell us and we'll make the changes and move forward from there. Then we'll finalize the score, and we can go back and unfinalize the score or repeat a match if there's a huge issue. Again, this is a scrimmage, so we don't plan on repeating matches, and there's only a few teams per division. So it's going to be the same matches over and over again, similar, just different lines, setups, and it's meant for you guys to get practice and have fun. So remember that. At the end of the day, we'll do a line section. We're going to have 2 alliances since we have somewhat between 4 and 8 teams per division. We're trying to add a few more teams now as we speak. So it'll be pretty straightforward how the line selection goes. I'll let you guys read through that on your own. The team will ask you, you can accept or decline. And once you decline, though, you can't accept another invitation, similar how any normal competition would run. And then we'll run just a finals match. I believe we'll be doing a best of 3. We may do a best of 1. We're not sure yet. That's something we still have to iron out, but that's one of the last details that we have to iron out. And at the end of the event, we will upload all the results to Robot Events. The actual matches themselves won't be uploaded, but we will have an Excel sheet that I'll show out in a few minutes, and we will put that link on the Robot Events page. That way you can go back, and you'll also be able to go back to the live stream. Our live stream may get pulled for copyright issues with the music. So if it does, we will go back and upload a audio-less version of the live stream. That way you guys can go back and watch your matches if you'd like. So during the event, since this is a software that RECF is working on constantly, there are a handful of issues that may come along. A lot of them are solved here in the troubleshooting. I'm not going to go through them all, but I'll go through a few of them. First one is the audio. I would suggest you guys all have the audio muted. You get a lot of feedback if you don't, and just keep it muted throughout the event. If there's any issues with the audio, talk to us in the event chat and we'll help you through it. A lot of times you'll have a video issue or some connection issue. What the recommendation is, if it doesn't work, refresh the page. So what we ask is you guys need to use a Chrome browser. There is a few setups you need to do in Chrome. I forget exactly what it is, but you have to adjust some background settings in Chrome to access the event. That is somewhere in this document, I believe, at the top, which I skipped over. So what we'd ask is you clear out your cache before the event, and you also, if there's any issues, just refresh the page and it'll relog you back into the event. This will happen, and you will need to do this throughout the event several times. Maybe the night before the event too, you want to clear the cache. There's another setting I'm going to tell you to work on, and then maybe restart your computer a few hours before the event just to reset the system. And One of the other things is the in-match timer. We have had issues in the past where the autonomous doesn't start at the proper time or the driver control doesn't start. If you go into your computer's date and time settings, you want to synchronize your time probably just before the event. This is one of that other feature I was talking about. So I would suggest clearing your cache, synchronizing the time, and then restarting your computer. And if there's any other issues, just read through here. There's not too many other big ones that pop up. Maybe there's some things about the autonomous, but there's our solutions in here that you got to look at. Make sure your firmware is up to date is another important thing. So that is the entirety of this document. Again, I skimmed over it. So specific about this event schedule. We'll zoom in here as well so everyone can see a little closer. Right now, we have about 4 to 5 teams per division. We are trying to get a few more teams out of New York or other regions. So hopefully we get a few more teams and we'll have up to 8 teams per division. But the reason why we need to do 2 divisions is for some clubs which have more teams than they do fields. So we will have to keep with the 2 divisions. And if anything, it's more matches for you guys. So take it as a benefit. So the schedule for both divisions, there is an optional inspection. That is a new feature in the live remote system. So if you'd like, you can go through the inspection process. We're treating this like a scrimmage, so you don't have to. However, we recommend it and we'll go as fast as we can. There's a queue that basically you have to get in line and we'll pull you up one at a time. We'll go through the inspection, at least a brief version of it. It's like any inspection in person, and then we'll pass or fail you, which hopefully no teams get failed. It's a scrimmage. We'll probably be extremely lenient with it. Then we'll give a few minutes for buffer, and then we'll have 2 practice matches. So our match cycle is going to be about 10 to 15 minutes. If we have only 4 to 5 teams, it'll probably be closer to 15 minutes, just so you guys have time to cool down between matches, or run a few matches really fast, take a break, and have the next few matches. So, and then we'll have the qualification matches for an hour and a half excuse me. Then we'll do a brief aligned selection. It's only 4 teams. There's really not too much to consider. And then we'll do our finals match. So we won't really have a closing ceremony just because it's such a small event. But we will send out a quick thank you note at the end of the event to all the teams and send out the award winners, just so everyone knows what happens in the other session. And we'd ask you guys to go watch the other live stream. It'll be the same live stream for both divisions. Go watch the other division while you're not competing. It'll be fun, hopefully. So one last thing I want to show that I need to pull up really quick is the matches, how we're going to run it roughly. So here's what our match schedule and score sheet will look like. We create the matches once the event starts. Everyone will have 2 practice matches, which will run almost about 5 to 10 minutes apart. And then we will run somewhere between 4 to 8 qualification matches. This depends on the amount of teams per division. We'll run probably about the amount of qualification matches that there are teams. That way every team gets about 1 practice match, 4 qualification matches, and a finals match. So that's 6 matches in 2 hours, which is more than enough for all of you guys, I bet. So we'll probably run them in clumps of 2 to 4 matches. This predicted start time, we'll edit this once the amount of teams are done. There's also going to be a predicted start time on robot events, or on the remote robot events page. I would go off of this predicted start time and just be ready at any time. If we queue up a match, go in that match, or if there's any issue, just message us saying that we need to fix our batteries. We'll be there in a few minutes and we'll wait. We're pretty lenient on time as long as we get done between by 7 for the first division and about 9:30 for the second division. There should be no issues with us running over. After the event, we will also try to upload the stream time for the start of the match. That way you guys don't have to click through forever and find the matches. So that is about all that I have. Again, if there's any questions, please reach out. I know this is a very long video. I didn't mean for it to go this long, but again, this is the first for a lot of you. So I want to make sure everyone sees this and everyone is as ready as they can be. So Thank you and good luck, teams.